You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we are not live because that's the way that the world works right now, but we are here and we have some of your questions with Bekah Nysewander. Bekah, she wears a lot of hats. She's a hat wearer. I'm a hat wearer. It's one of the many things we have in common. Her hats are metaphorical, though. And of her hats, her favorite is that she is mom to 3 amazing kids. She says they're amazing. I think you should have to decide for yourself. I think 2 out of the 3 are amazing, is what I'll say. Just leave it out there.
I want to know. I want to know which 2.
It's rotating. It's whatever the one's not in front of me is not the amazing one. No, they're great. She has 3 great kids. She loves the beach, which I hate the beach. So that may be some debate that we have here. She loves her friends and family. I love her friends and family. Literal, well, we'll stop. She's an independent contractor for a wealth management firm, which is a very professional sounding job for someone who wears this many hats. It's been an interesting time with current market volatility. And so maybe we'll ask her about that. Maybe we'll ask you about your thoughts on the market, Rebecca. That would be fun.
Oh yeah, that would be full of.
And
full
she's
of
a planner, so which is interesting probably during this time. So maybe we'll get into some of that as well. So everybody, welcome Bekah Nysewander. Bekah's here. Bekah is coming to us from an undisclosed but isolated location. Is that correct?
Well, my office is on the Chattahoochee, so there actually are other people. Let me.
Oh my gosh!
What?
Your office is on the Chattahoochee? That's a pretty sweet gig.
So I actually went into the office today, which I don't do but like once a week, but today was my day, so I came in just to check things out, and I was like, I have an interview with David, so I will do it down by the river.
So good. It's funny. Good start, good early. So Bekah, I'm just going to throw one out there that somebody posted on Facebook that I did not know about. And this is just, we're going to start right here because we're in the river. We're going to get in.
I'm so nervous.
People want to know stories about you smuggling Bibles into countries where it was illegal. So we're just going to start there. Have you smuggled, one, is that true? Have you smuggled Bibles into countries where it was illegal? Am I talking to a criminal? That's question 1.
I'm an international criminal.
And
I'm an international man of mystery is what I am.
Well, that would be mysterious. So tell us what's the backstory? What's the context? Like, why is that the question that someone would ask us about you?
Well, it was, okay, so I used to be with Youth with a Mission. And so I did my outreach in Nepal, which was magnificent and lovely. And so but we had a rare opportunity. We were traveling around. We were up in the north side of the country because we had done some backpacking. And we were up on the north side, and we had a rare opportunity through some local people that we met to go into Tibet. And so, but we weren't allowed to drive. We had to walk over the border because they have to search you, and you're not allowed to take a vehicle. And because we weren't going in as actual, tourists or whatnot, because you weren't allowed in really as a tourist at that time. But so we had a bunch of Bibles because even when we would go out and backpack and stuff, we would talk to locals and leave Bibles for those who would like a Bible. So we had some Bibles, but Tibet was a very close country, and so the part of China that was still very close. And so when we were going in, I cut open my teddy bear and took the stuffing out. And we put 3 Bibles in the back of my teddy bear and sewed it up because you could take a backpack in and that's it. And they would look through it. And so again, and other people had them stashed in other places because there was 6 or 7 of us that went through. And then there's a village right there on the border of Tibet. And so we went in and we were talking with some of the people. But we had to be pretty chill about our conversations. And then we left Bibles in strategic locations.
So I have so many questions. There's so many places we could go. What? Do you still have the teddy bear?
I do. I think we may have gotten rid of it in this current crisis purge of everything in our house.
You're purging the only thing that you ever smuggled with in your life.
my smuggling vector is, I think we may have purged it. No, but we had it. I mean, because the kids, I mean, I gave it to my kids eventually because it was just a teddy bear. And so I gave it to them. And I really do think that it made its way to Goodwill not too long ago.
Wow. Okay. So if it didn't, what I'm telling you guys is right now it's going to go on Facebook Marketplace and eBay to the highest bidder. And the donations are going to go to the Atlanta Food Bank. And so if
I can find it, it is all yours.
If she finds it, that's what we're doing. I just claimed it. This is the Highlands All-In Challenge right here. All of our smugglers are going to be donating. Everyone
going to
know who
submit
is
their stuff.
So did you restuff it?
No, I mean, well, I had the stuffing back at our little hostel. I guess they called them tea houses in Nepal, but so I had the stuffing there, and I don't remember putting the stuffing back in, but I'm sure I did. So it would have been very floppy had I not.
You didn't give your kid an unstuffed bear.
Who would give their kids a floppy bear? No, I didn't do that. Okay,
all right, that's good. That's more of a dog item. We may talk about your dogs later. You have an interesting dog in your life with interesting names. All right. So my next question is, when you're crossing the border, what was that like? Was it like the movies? Was it like what's going on? They're checking.
Okay, so the border where we were it's like a big bridge because it goes over a river because there's a river that separates Nepal and Tibet. And so we're going over this big river, and it's just covered in like military trucks and people with guns. It's not like a closed border where you have to go through like a little gate. Like it is just a bridge, but so there's so I mean, there was that nervousness of they could get really pissed. I mean, best case scenarios, they would be like, oh, look what we found and just chuck them in the river. You know what I mean? But but so I was kind of like a best case scenario person. I was like, I mean, they'll just chuck them in the river if they find them. If not, if they do worse, then they do worse, But when you're 20 and you're out traveling the world, you're kind of like,
let's go. Let's go.
Let's
Die for the cause.
Go big or go home. You know. So,
no, I get it. I'm glad you.
We did. We went big.
Good. That's fun. That's exciting. This is our first smuggling story. All right. So tell me.
Hopefully it's your last.
There's another couple of questions out there that I think you'll enjoy, but I'll save them. We'll pepper them throughout. Tell me about being a working mom during quarantine and the coronavirus. What's it like?
Wow. It's no joke. I find that on a given day, I'm very overwhelmed with feeling like I am half-assing everything. I mean, because I feel like, with having to teach the kids, I have 2 middle schoolers. So, a lot of their stuff has to still be taught. So they have great teachers who they have access to, but so much of it does have to be hands-on. So we've created pretty good systems in our house as far as we do school in the mornings. They're pretty much done by about noon, and then I kind of sprinkle tasks of my own work while they're doing theirs, and if they need me, I can help. And then the afternoons, they can kind of go out and ride bikes and goof off in the neighborhood and stuff. And I just work. And I work early mornings. I get up early and work before they get up. And then I work late after they've gone to bed to try to fit everything in. So it can be exhausting for sure.
Yeah. What do you feel like what are the 2 or 3 strategic challenges particular to this time, and how do you feel like you're doing with them?
Well, I think my biggest challenge right now is probably there's a cute little kid behind me. I don't know where he went. That's not a challenge, but there's
Shut up,
I think my biggest challenge right now. I think is I don't know. I always look to the future, and that's just kind of who I am. I do struggle with being present, and in this situation, you have no choice but to be present. And so I have to kind of combat, I think, some of my my issues that I can sometimes avoid by being a future thinker versus a present thinker. But I think my biggest struggle right now is probably not having much to look forward to, as far as immediate future, like me canceling trips, canceling beach trips, not knowing when exactly we can go back. However, I did book our fall break trip because I was like, surely
Hope springs eternal. I love it.
So I did book our beach house yesterday. But yeah, I think that's just been really hard for me to not have, I don't know, just like
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Plans and structure and stability.
When things are difficult, it's nice to be able to say, but on this day, I feel better, right?
Yes. It will be better here because of this.
They're going to meet an end. And so for you, since the on this day has become kind of a void, what do you do? What do you fill it with?
Book beach trips in September. No,
Kicked it down the road? You just said, I can sprint to September? That was the goal?
Yeah, I found that like, I struggle to think about it. Like I can't think about the summer. Like I think about, I really emotionally can't go there because I'm like, I have nothing on my vision board, for the summer. Because I mean, even like the summer camps that we had planned for, we don't know if they're going to happen. I mean, my guess is probably not, but like, I mean, I just have nothing on the docket to put in on that, of that forward sight place. And so it's just real weird and it's unsettling for me. And so I find that I have some anxiety that goes along with that. And, I'm having to really be okay with myself right now. And I guess maybe I'm not always okay with like my current person. And so, I'm having to really dive in and I don't love it.
So that's an interesting phrase. I have to be okay with myself. Can you broaden that out? Can you unpack that?
Well, okay, so I got divorced 2 years ago, just a little over 2 years ago. And so my world just shifted in a lot of ways. And there are a lot of things that like I don't have to, I don't know. I just kind of, I moved on quickly and, I was ready to move on. So I did. But I feel like my life was very full. It was very busy as becoming a single mom. My ex-husband has the kids every other weekend. So I mean, I just had my plate was so full and so busy. And I transitioned from working part-time to full-time as well to, pay the bills. But so I feel like that I've just had such a busy couple of years where there hasn't been really a lot of time to maybe unpack or desire to even. And so I feel like maybe this has been a time where I'm forced to be alone with myself, like with the changes and with the uncertainty of even the future now, like, uncertainty of what tomorrow is going to look like, uncertainty of, I don't know, all of it. So yeah, I just find myself in a really weird place.
Do you feel like, and you can be like, shut up, which you can, because you will be. But you feel like, how's the unpacking going?
It is slow and it is painful, to be honest, because the unpacking really doesn't have as much to do with my former relationship as much as it is where I stand with God and where, I don't know, like just not really knowing who I am. Like, I think for the most part, like being like, I don't know. I was always just kind of, I feel like just like out there and I would have fun or I would be a mom and a wife. Also, like, I just feel like who I am is defined so much by my hats that I wear. And so now it's like, wow, what defines me? And I kind of stopped letting God define me for a long time because I didn't trust. And I mean, I probably still don't. But so that's so the unpacking is hard. I don't feel comfortable with me because I don't have my same clear definitions that I had, 2 months ago. And, and a lot of times, and I feel like a big part of who we are is how we encounter those around us and how like I feel like we make people feel a certain way and that gives us definition. We feel a certain way because our relationship with other people and that gives us definition. And don't have that right now. Like, we don't have those interactions to define us or to give us insight into what makes us feel a certain way, or, you know, I mean, like, so it's really weird and interesting.
Yeah. Wow. No, I think that's really good. I wish we were live right now. I really do. Because I think that, like, I think over half of the people that are going to watch this or listen to this would say, like, that's me. Like, that's how I feel. So here's my next question. If you were counseling you, what would you say?
I'm in a lot of trouble.
What would you say to you about those things? Like, what would you say to you about, like, I don't know who so let me say it this way better. People are watching this and they feel like that. They're either single moms, or they're people that went through some sort of trauma, and busyness has allowed them to weave around a lot of things. And now they're kind of facing themselves, trying to figure out what they think about themselves, what they think about God, all these things. What would your advice be? What would your encouragement be? So take you out and make it them.
Like, so if I think, okay, so if I think my biggest thought is that we are going to be okay. Like, God doesn't give up, and he doesn't leave us alone. And I feel like that is something that I have to cling to. That's the fact that I'm not just being left alone. Like, it's not like I'm going through a season where I was like, all right, figure it out, you know, and even though sometimes it feels that way. But that's not who he is. And I always have to remember, and I would tell myself to remember what he thinks of me versus what I'm more inclined to think of me. And to remind myself of that versus to remind myself of my uncertainties. Like, and this is good for me to, I mean, I'm like, okay, take notes for myself. No, but I need to be reminded of who he says I am. Like, I need to go back to that. Like, and not just who he says I am, like in the general biblical sense, but like who over the my course of my life has he like spoken words over me? Like, what are those words? What are those things that he has said that do give me definition and that give me hope and direction, even like in a directionless time?
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's so good. Why aren't we live? Why aren't we live, Bekah? You're healing the world. You're like the Michael Jackson of these interviews. But not like that. You're like
I'm bad.
You're like what we thought Michael Jackson was when Free Willy came out. That's what you're like. You're not like current Michael Jackson or any of those things. I may edit this part out. Maybe this is why we're not live.
It's good. It's so good.
All right. That was really good. That was meat, man. So, and you should go back and watch this and talk to yourself.
Maybe I'll go back and talk to myself and be like,
I think that would be awesome, right? Like, I think that would be awesome. I think that was really beautiful.
I kind of told myself early on that I would never watch this.
Well, I'm going to send you clips. You may have already answered the last question. So we're going to jump into some fun questions. All right. Maybe.
Okay.
Fun is relative, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what's the thing that you've watched, listened to, or done during quarantine that everybody should do?
The Mindy Project.
The Mindy Project. Okay. Why?
Okay, so I don't like a lot of like just regular comedy shows or like, you know, just your typical like, I don't know. I'm more of a movie person. I like to, you know, I like a good happy ending at the end of something and to move on. But, which is probably why I watched the Mindy Project now. No, I just needed something that was gonna make me laugh. Like, even if I was like sitting at my desk and doing like mundane stuff, like I just needed something. And like I started because I'd watched some of the episodes, but I just started from season 1. And I haven't even gotten through all of season 1 yet. But I was like, I just need to laugh. And oh my gosh, like I legit laugh out loud. Kid's feeling pretty passionate right now. I don't know if you can.
I got one. I hate the Mindy Project. No.
He doesn't like it at all. No, but so I've been watching it, and it has, I mean, truly, I was like, this has given me so much joy in this time just to watch her, because I've always enjoyed Mindy in The Office, and, you know, I follow her on Instagram.
Well, there you go. Maybe she'll see this. Fine. So I'm not going to ask you what's in the cup. That's your own business. It's your own personal
Oh,
business.
that's just coffee. It's just coffee.
We're fine here.
Just coffee.
So,
Just coffee.
all right, so right now for you, what's the non-essential item that's worth the money that you'll spend it on?
Takeout. And
They're specific.
so yeah, okay. So I love sushi, which is probably as far as like, things can be passed. That's like
Are you finding places? I can't find Asian places that are open.
Tycoon is open.
Oh, we did do Tycoon one night, and we went
And
in.
they deliver to us.
The guy behind the counter have you been in? He had a helmet, like a SWAT team helmet. So
with
he
like a
had the mask on, but over the mask, he had like the black helmet with the face peeled while he was.
I wish I had to. I would have taken pictures.
I did. I snuck a couple, but I don't think that they should be used publicly. I'll send them to you after.
Okay, good. Because I would love to see them. Because I did. I just walked in one time, picked up my food right there at the counter, but I didn't really like look around. But typically, I just have them deliver, and that was sorry, emails are coming in. But and so I typically just have them deliver because they deliver to us now, which I was like, this is a win. But I do for our first. When this all shut down and I was like, oh, it'll just be like a month or so at the most, and whatever. So we were like, we are going to do our part to sustain our economy. So we ordered out, I kid you not, every freaking meal. Like, what do we want for breakfast, kids? What do we want? I mean, like, we were going to the French bakery for breakfast. We were going and getting like sandwiches from places for lunch. I mean, like, we were doing it. Everybody's like, oh, I'm saving so much money because I'm not doing this and this. And I'm like, we are blowing it. We are like,
Come on, stimulus. Let's go.
I know. I was like, we are going to personally stimulate our economy.
You did your part. You did your part.
And, and I will say we still do. We still order out a lot. Last night in our neighborhood, Fox Dogs came with a food truck.
Dude.
And you had to pre-order, so they had everything kind of like that. Like they knew what time you were going to be there to pick it up, and so they'd have it packaged for you, so you could just have it in a bag, and they would just pass it to you. So it was very well done, and it was delicious. But we, it was in one of the cul-de-sacs in our neighborhood, and we all just sat out in lawn chairs and enjoyed one another, and let the kids just kind of run. I mean, it was so nice. And so we've definitely enjoyed.
That's good.
Certain things that may not be, quote, acceptable to all people at all times, but it's been life-giving for me.
No, that's good. What did you get from Fox Dogs, first off?
I got the chili dog, which was really good. They have it really good. And my kids, of course, all just got plain hot dogs because
they're kids.
And they weren't sure of because they can't see it. Like, they can't just go in and order. They're like, we'll just take plain hot dogs.
When in doubt, opt out. And then
but I heard their little corn tots things, or they're fried, or I don't know. It's like a corn dog. It's like topped up hot dog, breaded, fried. I heard they're amazing, and I didn't get those. So I think if we have them back, I'm totally gonna go that route.
Come on, Fox Dogs. All right. So, and then I would be remiss because you're such an expert in things like this. What's your go-to sushi order?
My go-to. So I like all things raw when it comes to sushi. Like, if I was there, I would be like, I would go to the cook and be like, surprise me, lay it on me. But my kids are pretty hardcore California roll kids, so we order a lot of California rolls because Jacob eats. I don't know if you've seen him. He's grown like 2 feet over this quarantine.
Yeah, he's a dude.
I know. And so he's eating like $30 worth of California rolls, and and Zaya is always eating like a man. So we have to. I mean, I don't know. So we have to order a lot of California rolls, and I feel like it's real basic. But no, I'll go and get myself like a kamikaze roll or a Marietta roll or rainbow. I mean, like I like some raw fish mixed with some veggies.
Yeah, that's good.
So those are my go-tos.
All right. Is there anybody, so besides Mindy Kaling, who or what is giving you inspiration or encouragement right now?
Honestly, I think that it's been funny. I honestly think that it's been you and our Highlands people, because it's been so encouraging. It's been so encouraging, just the way that people have risen to the challenge to help out these times. Like, and I know like a lot of people have personal health issues that they want to be more cautious about, or their kids have health issues, so they want to be more cautious, but still they're taking the time to cautiously go and help. And I think that is beautiful. And that's wonderful that even in times where, honestly, I think we're all looking for ways to help too, because we feel so helpless in a lot of ways. And so we're like, please, I want to help something. And so it's been, I feel like Highlands has given not just a ton of help to the community by feeding and providing food for so many kids. It has given so many of us an opportunity to help and to feel useful in a time where we feel so useless. And so I'm super thankful. And yeah, I don't know, that to me is big. But I also find that I am so appreciative of your typical like store staff, like where I'm just like, you know, thank you for coming in. Like, so many of us have the, you know, the freedom to stay home and do life from home, and you know, they go in every day and they don't quite get the same relaxing at home vibe that some of us do. And I don't know, I just find that I'm super thankful lately.
That's cool. That's good.
And then I get super emotional. I never get emotional. I like now.
Let it out. Let it out.
Like lately, I feel like at any moment I'm just like, oh my gosh! I just feel like all my emotions are like right on the surface. Like they're just gonna just spill over. I'm on like the cliffs of insanity. Like I'm just about to step over and just.
Last night, like, so I've been begging Jane for like a week to watch the Jane Goodall documentary that Nat Geo released. It's on Disney. It's on Disney Plus. It's fantastic. And I've been begging Jane to watch it for like a week. And I'm like, she just won't bite. She's like, I love Jane Goodall and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why can't we watch this thing? We turned it on last night. I mean, from like second two, as soon as Jane Goodall appeared on the screen till we watched about 30 to 40 minutes of it, she was bawling the entire
That's my friend right there.
She was bawling. And like, I was like, what? She was like, I don't know.
I think we all are we're so raw right now. There's no fluff like to pad between us and like hurt and instability. I mean, we're so raw. We're just all out there.
I think, you know, one thing she did say was, and it relates to what you're talking about. She said, you know, this idea of people sacrificing and giving of themselves, right? So Jane Goodall sort of devotes her life over to a cause and is willing to give and to sacrifice. But, you know, this thing, like one of the things that I'm noticing is somebody just texted me that they can't see the Bekah interview. So it's going to be exciting in a minute when I ask this question. So you, sir, who just texted me about not being able to see the interview, you have a question that you asked coming soon. This idea of purpose and meaning, right? Like one of the things that I feel like I sort of noticed for whatever reason early on was like, oh, in World War II, when everybody was asked to sacrifice, it felt like a meaningful and purposeful sacrifice, right? The things you were doing. And right now it's like, stay home. And it just lacks the same sense of mission and purpose, right?
So many of us are doers.
Yeah, and it, like that can be life-sucking to think I don't have a mission and purpose, right? Like it's not purposeful to binge watch television. Even if you can say it is, it doesn't feel that way. And I think that's some of the
so empty.
Like people need that. They need it at every point in life, but I think especially right now. So where do you find it? Where do you find mission and purpose? Beyond just like, I'm a mom and I love my kids. Maybe that's part of it, but like what within that, even if that's it, like where are you finding mission and purpose right now?
Honestly, you don't want me to say my kids, but a lot of it is making sure they're okay.
No, starters. You can say your kids. I just want to know, like within that, how does that play out?
Right. So for me, it's making sure that emotionally they're okay and assessing them and what they're missing and what they're lacking and giving them a sounding board. We have one kid who will tell me how she feels 24/7, and then a couple other ones who, you know, won't ever say anything unless it's like drawn from them. But just making sure that they're okay, you know, that they understand what's going on and that they're not afraid. Because I was like, you know, we aren't scared people. That's not who we are. That's not what we're about. And so, you know, it's okay to have fears, but we have to, I try to force my kids into rational. Like, I'm like, let's think rationally about this. But I think that other than that too, like work does give me some definition of being as helpful as possible in stressful environments. And so for a lot of our clients, the atmosphere is stressful. And so, just trying to be extremely accommodating and patient, because some of them, get anxious and may say things that they don't mean, but they're anxious.
Yeah.
And so that's more of, just trying to be some kind of calm in the storm.
That's good.
I think is that. And then also, I've been down for the count for a little while, like as far as like actually even being able to go out and about just because of my ankle. But so even like getting out and like trying to like have conversation with friends is even hard. Like going for a walk with a friend, that doesn't really happen so much. But yeah, now that I am out, even just being able to call a friend or talk on the phone and check in, I feel like, you really are. You're trying to find ways to help in the smallest, which, even in the busy times of life, sometimes your people just need a phone call, just somebody to check in on them, even when things are, appear to be good. But
that's good. I think that's so good. I think people in general, but especially right now, maybe spend more time lamenting what they can't do instead of recognizing what you're saying, which is like, this is it, right? Like, this is what you can do. Like,
that's it. Yeah, it really is.
You can call, you can text, you can help your kids, process. And I think the hardest part is like taking that first step, because you feel so tired, you feel so kind of worn out in terms of trying to process things. I don't mean you specific, Bekah, but I mean just general. But like if you, and people retreat when they're tired or when they're anxious, I think, but one of the things I'm finding is that if you'll just step forward with what little bit you have, like not to be super pastory, but it's like fishes and loaves, right? Like it's like that kid didn't have enough to feed everybody, but he was willing.
That's what you have.
Yeah, he was willing to just kind of put it out there, even though it looked stupid or felt stupid, and that was enough, right? Like that's what God needed and used to feed people. So I think that's really good. All right, I'm gonna try to power through these. We're going long, not surprisingly for me. What do you miss? What are you excited to do when quarantine ends?
I'm going to the beach.
What?
No, I'm going to the beach. No, I've already actually asked. I asked quite a few of my people who I rent from regularly. I've already asked them, like, hey, the minute that y'all are allowed to rent again, I need a phone call or an email. Like, I was like, I just need to know so I can move forward. No, and that truly has happened. But no, I want to be together with my people. Like, I want face-to-face conversations and just good. I just want to see my people.
That's good. What? I'm going to ask this. I meant to ask this. The last question, really quick. So, what's your market advice to the average person?
Oh gosh.
You're not allowed to give it freely. Don't.
I'm not really allowed to. I'm not really. But I would say I think if this is the kind of the going thing for everyone is to financially stay put. Like, don't move around. Whenever there's a big dip in the market, sometimes people will freak out and want to move assets and whatnot, but don't move. Like, keep your stuff where it is. We have always been able to recover, and I have to maintain, the perspective that this isn't going to just completely kill us. Like, we're not going to get away with free market. And so if you can keep your stuff where it is, you'll be fine. You got to let things recover. And if you move it, you might miss kind of like a jump, which you don't want to miss the big days. So
that was very professional. That was nice. This could have been a financial podcast. What habits do you want to take out of this experience, or what learning?
I think that I want to take away from this, like, probably the ability to slow down a little bit, like, because my life does get busy and it does feel overwhelming, just in the driving sense. Like, I have loved not having to get in that beast of a car all the time. My car is huge, so it's been nice to not have to, like, back that bus out of the garage 50 times a day. So I would love to take away some of the slower pace of life, like making time for my kids just to be able to go ride their bikes around the neighborhood, you know, with friends and run around in the woods and play in the creek. You know what I mean? Like I want, and for me, I want more of the slow down time, like making dinner with the kids, like having them be involved. And I mean, stuff like that, which I'm always like, you know, in a rush, typically just to throw food on the table so we can get to the next practice, or, you know, eating in the car so we can get to the next practice. And so I would love to slow down to where we can appreciate our family, because I feel like we've had like this close, like Jacob even said the other day, when we were assessing where we are emotionally and, you know, mentally, he was like, I'm just so happy. I mean, he's been so happy being home.
That's awesome.
And having so much time to just be a dude in the woods, you know? Like,
Yeah,
so,
man.
I mean, and so it's been really good. And so I think that's probably my big hope to take away is making time for nothing.
Yeah.
And Jane has always told me that. She's like, that's always been her advice to me. Like when I'm on my like stress moments, she's always been like, you need to, I mean, like, she's always so full of good advice. But she's always been like, you need to carve out a time where it's just like nothing. You have nothing on the calendar, even if it's like half a day or a day once a month, you know, and I don't know, here I am, forced to live Jane's advice.
She's also told me that regularly.
Well, because we're the same.
We are the same. Yeah, I think that's good. I wonder, it's so interesting to me, like having worked with kids for so long and having watched parents and families, the just breakneck pace of extracurriculars and academics that we voluntarily put ourselves into and then felt like we couldn't get out of.
It's true.
I wonder, I'm hopeful that some of that will like, not just back off because we have to, but back off because we've evaluated it better, you know?
And we have better perspective.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, I really hope so, because at the same time, you're like, well, which kid doesn't get to do their activity? You know, I mean, like, or.
Well, it's tough. I mean, I think it's got to be a societal and a cultural thing. And I think one of the big problems is that a lot of those things advance due to financial concerns. And so I don't know if that changes, but it's a great observation, and it's something that I'm looking for.
I really hope it does slow down. I mean, I really hope that we take away some of the pressures to, like, you know, to be able to play high school sports. I mean, to have, you know, truly professional help all the way until then. I mean, that's kind of tough.
Yeah, and I think like if we can walk out of this saying like, oh, like our schedules, we really could make decisions and be okay and be happy and be satisfied and not be afraid. I think that's a big takeaway. All right, last question, because we're coming up on. You're the healthiest Bekah in the world, like holistically, physically, emotionally, mentally. Your healthiest you comes to live with you for the next 4 weeks. So to take you through the end of May. What is she telling you? What's she whispering in your ear?
My healthiest version of me. I think she would say a lot of curse words. Because what I want to advise myself right now is a lot of like, calm it down. No, I think she would say for me to take charge of the things that I can, like the things that might feel like out of control, but are only out of control because I'm letting them be. I think I would be very, I would probably not eat as many sweets right now. But I think that she would probably tell me to let myself have, mental downtime, as well as like self-care in the sense of like truly caring for us, not caring for, the peace and quiet of our house. I mean, all the time, like, you know, but, or not just letting the kids have what they want because they're living without things, but really like taking on the projects that have been put aside because of time, and, you know, really looking at them and evaluating their necessity, but also like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to see when you come out of this? You know, like, and I think that's something that I need to also like focus on, like, what is the healthy version of me that wants to come out of this with joy and with peace and with just assurance of self and of God. I mean, like, who and what are those things? And I have a slew of things that, like, I'm like, oh, I would love to work on this, and it's like, all right, so take the time to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's just doing the things that need to be done.
That's really good. All right, we'll leave it there. You crushed it. Not surprisingly,
It's
Bekah,
because of the peace of the river.
Bekah Love Nysewander, live down by the river, not in a van.
Yeah, not in the van.
Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you.
Bye, thanks.
All right, hold on.